All right, we are here to break down Daredevil board again. Episode 2, everything from why Fisk has bloody knuckles to how White Tiger's court case mirrors Matt's own struggle with his alter ego. So, guys, I'm sure you probably noticed this in the show. Did you see Fisk's knuckles? What do you think is going on there? Because at this point, we're supposed to be wondering whether or not Fisk actually has altruistic motives for becoming the mayor, if he really intends to save the city, or if he's actually still corrupt. What do you think caused this?
I didn't notice those.
Really?
Maybe it's
I did not.
I don't know. Maybe it's a way of him taking out his frustration since he can't go out and actually beat people up anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I did wonder that. Did he just punch a wall? Was it a person?
Yeah.
We have no idea yet. But
We
when
see
he's
that in
sitting
later
there
episodes.
in his office talking to his campaign manager, I assume that's who that is, and she's saying, "Hey, your wife not being around isn't going over well with the traditional voters." It's during that conversation that it shows quickly his hand close up and he's got bloody knuckles. And I think there are more signs that, he's not completely changed throughout the episode that we'll get to. So, yeah.
I did notice that other one.
Oh, okay. Well, apparently he's snapped off screen. We don't know if it's at a person yet or what, but it's a clue that maybe he's losing it. So definitely towards the end, a clue that maybe he's still corrupt is he's trying to blackmail the commissioner by revealing his secret child. So I don't know, how bad do you think this is? Do you think Kingpin is any better than he was, or do you think he's still, what Matt Murdock suspects that he might be?
I think he thinks he is. He didn't kill anyone, but he's still playing the blackmail card, and of course his wife is still running everything underground. I think it's just it's a matter of time. One little thing is going to happen that he's not going to like, and he's going to just flip out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he talks about that guy that his father idolized, LaGuardia, who must have been a mayor in the 1800s, I believe, is what he said.
No, there was another mayor that he mentioned.
Okay.
LaGuardia was mayor
during his dad's
60s, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, so there's the that stood up to the corruption in New York City, and you kind of get the impression that Fisk also respects this guy, right? But at the same time, he is kind of losing, giving in to, the same ways he kept power before. So I kind of wonder if he's trying to be LaGuardia, but then at some point he'll lose that battle, and then he'll just kind of lose it completely.
Yeah, LaGuardia was mayor from 34 to 46.
Okay.
And then he got an airport named after him.
Did you think, like, when he just cut through the red tape at the construction site and got that hole filled in, I was thinking there's probably like laws like for safety purposes for why they have to wait for some of this stuff. I mean, I get it's going to be a hit with the public, but it's just kind of funny.
I think there are, but I think at the same point, the construction people are the safety things. I think what they were trying to point out is the fact that to make things happen, there's so much red tape and bureaucracy where it's just like, just do it. And that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So, I think that's the point they're going towards. I mean, there may be some safety issues here and there or something like that. But in reality, I think if the construction team is there and ready and willing to do the work, everything's set to go.
Mm-hmm. You knew that was going to make him look good on TV too.
Yeah, there's people with cameras all over the place. So, and he even says, see, I said I'd get things done and I'm getting things done.
He'd rather do that than talk to a person like one-on-one, these meet and greets that he seems terrified of. Right. It is interesting they keep focusing on his nervous tics,
I want to know what caused the big hole in the road.
Hulk?
I
don't know.
No, that's okay. So honestly, there's a giant hole in the road, and I thought like maybe they're going to reference some other, you know, superhero who, because they always cause massive damage every time they fight.
Yeah.
And he's got these things against these vigilantes or these heroes. And I saw that giant hole, and I'm like, man, it looks like something like the Hulk would have done, or somebody slammed into it, and there they go, breaking up our city again.
I wonder if that's an Easter egg. Like, viewers, if anybody knows what made that hole, like if that's from another Marvel show or movie, tell us in the comments. We would like to know.
Yeah.
And what do you think about the therapy scene? Like, Vanessa and Wilson, they have to go to marriage counseling. They show up and at Daredevil's girlfriend's therapy office, so she has to sign a non-disclosure deal. They're going to be if they tell her anything important that she's going to talk. So I'm imagining that her life might be in jeopardy later in the season. But I also noticed some clues coming out during this therapy session that Fisk might be the same old Fisk. Did you see anything here that made you think that? Any clues?
I was a little distracted because I wasn't crazy about Matt's new girlfriend being the therapist for Daredevil's nemesis.
Is it too convenient?
Yeah,
I thought that too. Really did.
That seems to happen a lot in TV and movies. I mean, I'm telling you right now, 2 or 3 episodes in, Matt and the therapist are going to be out on a date at a really nice restaurant, and here comes the mayor and his wife, and then it's like, oh, hey there, doctor, who's that? And then there's going to be that awkward pause that nobody notices in the restaurant. They sit there for 5 minutes staring at each other, and everyone's like, everything's normal. So yeah, when I saw that, I was like, come on.
I kind of like the tension that could come out of it, but it is like, oh, the world's not really that small type of situation.
Yeah. And I don't know if it doesn't sound like much of the comic is in this TV show. So I don't know. It seemed too convenient for me.
And she knows that Matt has issues with Fisk. Like, it was when he was announced that he's the mayor. She's like, oh, you don't seem like you like him. He's like, we've had some run-ins before in the past and stuff. So she already knows that, like, there's some kind of a history between them. So I don't know if she gets to screen her clients before they come in. Like, she knows who's going to walk in the door. But wouldn't that be one where she's like, I should probably not take this one?
Yeah, because that's going to put her in a position that is difficult in a relationship. Because, there is that client privilege thing. I mean,
she could lose her license if unless there's a threat. I think it's like a direct threat is made or harm to somebody else. I think they can go. But other than that, it's whatever is said in that room stays in that room.
Who's going to find out? Who's going to find out?
Oh, go ahead, you.
Who's going to find out first? Is she going to find out that Matt is Daredevil through Fisk, or is Fisk going to find out that she's dating Daredevil?
What Doug said,
which was,
I think that she's going to be a very good therapist and is really going to help them, and then that's when they meet in the restaurant. So now it's like, okay, I can't. Matt can't tell his girlfriend about their run-ins because that's admitting that he's Daredevil. And Fisk isn't going to mess anything up with the therapist because she's helping him and his wife get back together. So they're going to be in that. They're going to be in that space where both of them know what's going on, but can't.
Yeah. Wonder if they'll break up then over that tension there. Like, how do you know him?
Yeah,
it's buddies now.
It just seems familiar to me.
It was revealing to me too that okay, we find out that when Fisk lost, when he was defeated in season 3, he disappeared, right? And he pulled away from Vanessa. I guess that must have been a shame thing. He hasn't said that, but that really hurt Vanessa. And Fisk says, well, that was the best thing for her. So I noticed right away, like, oh, he decided that for her. So then the therapist turns to Vanessa and asks her, well, was that the best thing for you? How did you feel about that? He tries to answer for her, which it's sort of like gaslighting. So to me, she still loses her autonomy when she's in this relationship with Fisk, because he's got to be the one that wields the power, right? So this is what I think is either going to happen. This is a sign that Fisk is still same old Fisk. He rules through power, right? She is either going to be trying to get out of this the whole time, or I wonder if she's going to like kind of go behind him and emerge as the big boss. Somehow she's going to emerge as the one who pulls the strings. Those are my theories.
And I could see that because she definitely likes the power.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I said, in the last thing that we talked about is that she's probably a little disappointed that he just walks in and takes over.
Yeah.
Like she even said that in the first episode. Like, you just walk in and everyone immediately, changes their attitude and everything. Like, he's got that much power. He's that intimidating. So with her around, now all of a sudden now she just loses some of that. So
yeah, it messes up her business. But you have to tell me if I'm remembering this correctly. But it hit me while I was watching the therapy scene, and he's not letting her speak her own feelings. At first, it hit me that when he showed up in the warehouse scene and saw her for the first time, she seemed hurt. He didn't really seem to empathize for her necessarily. Instead, he just said how strong his love was for her. And that is kind of your classic kind of narcissism, where like you don't really engage in the other person's pain. You just say, well, my love is so strong, And so he almost convinced her to get back in the relationship. Or I didn't feel like she had a choice. I think she didn't think she had a choice. But did you notice that? Like, he hasn't really sat there and acknowledged her pain yet.
Yeah. There's a couple times too. I mean, like, you can see how she's feeling. Like when he, after he wins, the office of mayor, and they're having a little celebration for him. She doesn't even come over and congratulate. She stays on the other side and won't like even, and when they look at each other, she's not smiling or happy. She's like, you're in the limelight again. There you go.
I think she enjoys. I think she enjoys being married to him because now she's a part of his name. So she's been using his name to, guard her or protect her or make her sound stronger than maybe she really is. And now he's back, and it's like, well, you just took away my power. You took away my fun. You took away what I've worked on for the past X many years.
Yeah, because when he comes back and he says it's time, what I was interpreting that as he's saying it's my time. Like it's time for me to become mayor. So he's kind of taking over. But you wouldn't spot those things necessarily unless I don't know. I've been through counseling before, and I've seen these things and now spot them. So I just thought that's an interesting dynamic to see where it goes in the show.
Yeah, I like that strangeness. I'm just not big on the therapy.
I think it's curious. The psychology, that's fun. But what about, there's a huge ending to this scene, or to this episode. Daredevil follows a corrupt cop to his only witness, who's about to be killed by him, right? It's the only person that can tell the truth about what White Tiger was doing, not in his costume, when he was trying to save somebody at the subway. It was the guy who got attacked, right? Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, the police bust in. Man, what did you think of this scene? We've got a little Punisher tattoo that Matt sees on one of the cops' wrists. They're about to kill him.
Does he see it?
I thought he did, but I don't know.
I mean, I'm on board with him using sonar and fire vision and everything like that to see an outline of a person. I don't believe he's going to be able to see a small tattoo on somebody's wrist.
Oh, you're right. So the camera zooms in. He doesn't see it, but we do.
I mean, I could be wrong.
So,
maybe he felt it.
Won't. Yeah, he won't know about that connection then. Just we're supposed to know. I don't think Frank Castle would be real happy with these cops. So it's almost like someone has taken on his mission with a distortion. Not that everything Punisher did was by the law, but
well, that's who the Punisher is. He punishes bad guys, but these cops, and I think these cops were doing the same thing. This guy is a criminal, and I think they were doing the same thing when White Tiger showed up, and then to cover themselves for being Punisher followers, they have to murder, unfortunately. I'm not saying it's right by any means,
right.
but
does it make
that's kind of where they're at.
But we don't know what that guy did, so you're right. Like,
did he? Is it just that he was a witness? Because I didn't realize he was a criminal. Where'd you get that?
Well, because the cops were beating him up. Remember, they said we're cops, and that's why they were beating on this guy, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
But when Tiger shows up, he doesn't see that. He sees two people beating up on a helpless guy. And it's not until he finds out that they're police officers. So there had to be a reason that they were, giving this guy a beat down.
So the reason I didn't realize he was a criminal was because I assumed they staged that to catch vigilantes. I thought for a while I thought maybe they suspected who White Tiger was, and so they staged it to catch him specifically. But as the episode went on, I realized no, that's not what's going on. But I still thought it was staged. I thought they were just doing that around town. The cops were to try to see if anyone would pop out of the shadows and they'd catch a vigilante.
That could be too, but they're murdering people.
Yeah.
So that's the weird thing. He's got a Punisher tattoo, but the cops are against vigilantes, or are the cops not buying into that at this point?
The cops, all they see is a guy who showed up and pushed a police officer in front of a subway train.
Yeah.
So that's all they're seeing right now is you're a cop killer.
But in general, they know that Fisk is going to be anti-vigilante. Do we have any inclination of whether or not they like that at this point?
That they know? No, I don't think that they know that guy's a vigilante. I don't think they know he's a White Tiger. Is that his name, White Tiger?
They don't know that, but do you think they're against vigilantes?
Probably.
Okay.
I don't know.
See, that's why I thought it was ironic.
I mean, if that's what I just assumed they were.
I think the other way. I think they're Punisher followers. I think they see what the Punisher does, and it's like we want to do that too. But unfortunately, while they were beating up this criminal, like the Punisher would, somebody else stepped in and a cop got killed. So to cover himself as a vigilante, because that's basically what he is. He's a cop that's following the order, if you will, of Frank Castle, and he's beating up and or killing criminals. And to keep that quiet, he's got to quiet this witness.
That makes sense.
And he would not side with Kingpin then.
No.
So that he would be one of the officers that would quit the force.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the web is very, very tangly here. Interesting.
Yeah. Technically, if Matt Murdock would have said, hey, I'm Daredevil, I think those two cops would have been like, well, you understand what we're doing then. Mm-hmm. And they're just taking it too far.
Yeah.
They went over that line that caused Matt to quit being Daredevil. And they're willing to go over that line as well. I don't know if Punisher kills innocent. I don't think he kills innocent people.
I had to rewatch Punisher again to tell you that. Yeah. I think he's an anti-hero. I mean, he's trying to do the right thing, but yeah, he definitely just kills whoever gets in the way. So I thought the way the episode ended was awesome with Matt just screaming, because he's in this conundrum is interesting. Like he doesn't want to become Daredevil, but he's going to be forced to use his Daredevil fighting skills to save his own life here. But if he does that, then he creates an evidence scene that's going to muddy the whole case. It might sabotage, his whole defense as a lawyer. So I thought this makes a really interesting set of circumstances for the show to explore.
Yeah, he's put himself in a messed up situation because the first cop, I think he just knocked out.
Second cop, I think he killed.
That dude's dead. He threw him on his head. You heard his neck crack.
Yep.
He's dead. So
he killed that dude.
Yeah,
I just assumed
his blood is on the floor because he got punched and it showed the Matt's blood come out and hit the floor. So now his DNA is at a crime scene with another dead cop. So yeah, I don't know what he's going to do to get out of this one.
So that's the reason that they would have zoomed in on the blood. So I didn't realize that. I thought that was a hard hit, but I thought maybe like Bullseye, he survived.
No, you could hear it snap. And I think that's his whole screaming part right there. It's not because I beat these guys up. It's because I just did what I said I would never do. And I just did it.
I thought he had accidentally, like he had been forced to be Daredevil again. That's why he was mad. Plus his whole legal case is ruined or becomes very complicated. I did not realize like he might be on the run because I didn't think he was dead. He might be on the run next episode then.
If that guy survives and shows up in part 3, then there's some issues with people falling and breaking their necks.
I thought
second episode in a row somebody should be dead from breaking their neck that they're not.
Okay, so I almost asked you guys this about Bullseye's death last episode, but it applies to this too. I didn't think either of those killings. I mean, I thought they would qualify as self-defense or taking down a shooter, but like they said, anytime in New York anytime a New York cop dies, the machine gets activated and it goes around to punish the offender, right? So he'll be in hot water, innocent or not, or self-defense or not. And then how are you going to prove it, right?
Right.
That's why his witness is not wanting to participate because he's like, they'll kill me. So I was wondering though, like, do you think he really, like morally, do you think he did anything wrong here? Because the first situation's taking down an active shooter, and the second situation is you've got cops trying to wrongly kill you.
The first situation with the shooter was pretty much done.
Yeah,
he wasn't fighting back at that point. He was done, and he could have just taken him downstairs and turned him over. And he made that decision to throw him off the roof. That was not an accident. That wasn't trying to stop him at that point. That was a decision made. I'm throwing this guy off the roof. The one in the apartment, I don't know that he necessarily meant to kill anybody, but his anger is just too explosive at this point.
Yeah, which is why I think they introduced the girlfriend. I think he's going to realize that A, Daredevil needs to be there, but B, he can't be Daredevil right now because he's too angry about Foggy's death.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to end up taking therapy from her to get over Foggy's death so he can be the proper Daredevil again.
Yeah, but it would be, under the table, right? Since they're dating.
Well, that's again, maybe that happens later on in the season after the meeting at dinner with Fisk.
Yeah,
they
man.
have to break up because of the situation between Fisk and Murdoch. So to stay close to her, he ends up taking therapy and breaks through some layers and gets over Foggy's death.
Interesting. Yeah. I am excited. I kind of like her as a, the romance here. And so I think that's interesting. And yeah, I'm very curious. We got a lot of good theories here. But yeah, I did not connect that his grief is why he was so hard on those cops, because like I said, I didn't think they were dead. But yeah, man, this is interesting.
Yeah, if that one cop's not dead, then I don't know what's going on.
We'll find out next week, I guess. So you did notice the tribute at the beginning of this episode, right, to Camara de los Reyes?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah, the
White
guy who played
Tiger,
White
the
Tiger.
actor.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was going to
he
mention
passed
that.
away like on Christmas Eve on 2023, I think.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, that's kind of
around-
sad. So I don't know how much we'll actually see this character in future episodes. I mean, they may have to cut
I think
the
he's only in
plans they
one
had.
episode.
Really?
IMDb.
Huh. Yeah, he was Marvel's first Latino superhero. 1975, he debuted in the comics, from what I understand, and his powers come from a mystical jade tiger amulet. This made me think quite a bit of Black Panther, and that maybe he's kind of like I don't know, a doppelganger of Black Panther, or a similar character. So
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a color and a cat. So
yeah, and the
I don't know who
executive
came first.
producer. The executive producer of the show said that this character is here to mirror Matt's internal battle with being Daredevil. So as we watch the show, like, you're supposed to be paying attention to White Tiger's dilemma, and that is like an extrapolation of what's going on in Matt's head. So that could be a really cool case to follow, or a plot point.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that character is only in one episode?
Double checking that, right? Yeah, he's in one episode. I wonder if he passed in the middle
While in the middle of
while
filming?
filming, because, like you said, this is their Marvel's first Latino superhero. So you'd think they want to give him a little bit more screen time.
Mm-hmm.
And
they put him in the trailer and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll find out if I don't know if they replaced him with another actor, or what will happen here, but that'll be interesting. It's sad what happened.
Oh. So they were filming in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And the actor passed away on Christmas Eve of 2023. And it says at the end of September of 2023, they had filmed 6 episodes. Marvel decided to overhaul the series. So they got new writers, and they took some of the elements that had been shot and changed the tone. So they had to start over. So I don't know exactly. So yeah, he died in the middle of filming this series. So they didn't recast, but they also couldn't just cut out that storyline. So
yeah.
So he might be on the run next episode, just because he's obviously not going back to defend White Tiger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So that could go along with, in the comics, Fisk got him disbarred. So maybe this is how Matt will get disbarred. I mean, we figured out that they're not copying the Born Again storyline very closely. But I wonder.
Foggy makes it all the way through the comic book.
Now, I guess one of the writers of Deadpool and Wolverine had said that this was originally going to be a comedy. And I was very concerned about several things I heard in pre-production, but I was pretty happy with this episode. But he says they overhauled it to make it more serious, and the actors had to kind of go forward and tell them they didn't really understand the heart of the show. And that was the reason for the overhaul. So I mean, nobody's going to understand these characters better than the people who play them. So I'm glad they did that. But what I've heard, everything so far, I mean, a lot of the review sources have seen the first 6 episodes, and they're very happy with it. So I'm excited for whatever's coming next.
That's good. And I'm glad they spoke up, because I'm fine with trying new things when it comes to, I get it. You don't want to do the same boring thing over and over again, but between a couple of their TV shows and things like that, Marvel hasn't been great recently.
Yeah,
and I think the people saw them trying to be funnier with this, and they're like, no, you can't do this. You're changing the formula that works.
Yeah.
So, let's go with what works. Plus, Deadpool 3 came out and was such a huge hit. They're like, we gotta be grittier. And you can tell they're dropping more F-bombs throughout the TV show and everything like that. So I think they're realizing let's not go campy. Let's not try things too differently. Let's just stick with what we go, and let's make this a true rated R TV show.
Yeah.
And
well, one of the quotes from, I can't remember if it was the director or the writer or whatever, someone said there was too much navel gazing in the original show and that they were going to fix that and make it more action. And I was concerned because I'm like, man, the suspense of the first show and like the people, the human drama, like that's what set that show apart. Like, I hope, if they want to put a little more action in, great. But I hope they don't forget that it's not an amazing show just because it's about superheroes. It's because this is a great story about people and, gritty. So, yeah, I am kind of sad about the White Tiger thing. Well, not just because of what happened to him, but for the show, there was a thread here that I don't know if it's going to come back. Matt knowing Hector is innocent because he can hear his heartbeat. And, Cherry says, knowing the truth doesn't matter if you can't prove it in court. I thought that was going to be a really interesting dilemma, but I don't know if Matt has to go on the run. I mean, that they may not be able to finish that storyline. Given
it's going to be a little bit rough.
So they'll find out. Yeah, they had a writer strike at the end of 2023 also. So they were only able to do like 6 episodes before the writer strike kicked in. So they didn't start filming again until January of 2024.
Oh, wow.
So some of the episodes are going to be what was filmed previously, and they went back and like did a few little reshoots and a little tweaks. So,
I could see that a little bit because for a while, like I couldn't figure out how Daredevil knew Powell was the cop he needed to follow. And I don't know if I just missed it, but there were a few things here and there. Like I'm enjoying this. I think it's solid. However, there were a few things that like I didn't figure out until later in the episode. And I was like, did I miss something or was it not explicit enough?
Well, in the court, in the arraignment, when he's sitting there, he heard him say, "That's the guy who killed my partner." And then he turned, and I think he was able to, see his body shape and hear his heartbeat. And it's like, okay, that's the other dirty cop.
He's
angry.
I need
to keep an eye on him. So,
well, I mean, of course he'd be angry, but I didn't take that to mean the guy was going to go out and like try to kill the witness. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe that's just how mad he was. But well, I guess we'll find out if Matt's on the run next time or not. We'll be back in a week talking about episode 3. So hope you'll join us then. We'll see you.
Check us
next
out on
Wednesday.
Yep.
Yeah, you say it.
I was just saying, check us out next Wednesday, 9:30 Eastern. We'll be doing episode 3 of Born Again. But in the meantime, we are covering season 1 of Daredevil right now. And if you need a refresher, go back and check those out.
Check that out on our channel. So
yes.
We'll see you then.